The students in this class asked, are kale flowers related to broccoli flowers? And yes, they are related. They are part of the great Brassica family right here. Used to be called the crucifer family. This family is a primary and really strong family in the plant kingdom. Remember, we're talking about kinship, not kings, no kings. So when we look at the Brassica family, it used to be called the cruciferer family. Crucify, cross. The flowers are formed as a cross. Luckily, that family name was changed to the Brassicaceae family. So in this family, all members of this family have a flower that has a cross in the flower. They have a kind of sulfurous scent, a deep, rich sulfurous scent. Their primary food family. Right now, in the difficulty that we're facing from global warming and climate change, this family is one of the families that's the hardest to plant and sustain because they take so much fertility. So I'm really saying this to looking at Kaylin and the farm crew to say that if we have to select out a family that we decide not to grow, we are weaning ourselves a bit from the heavy-headed members of the Brassica family. Think about this, and we've done a little, this is actually supposed to be, I guess it's a radish, we'll go with that. So, all in the Brassica family, you have every single plant part included. The radish is a brassica. The stem, broccoli rabe is known as a stem, so you can eat the stem. Then you have the swollen fruit. You have turnips and radishes. I talked about that. They're root crops, but they're also swollen fruit. You also have flowers, cauliflower and broccoli. And then you have the leafy greens, kale, collards. If you had to focus, because these are incredibly nutritious plants, if you had to focus on what would be best for the soil and best for you to eat and best to maintain in difficult times, you would go for the leafy greens. You would focus on collards, on kale, and on all those greens that come from this family. Because mustard, all of the mustards, mizuna, bok choy, those are all members of the Brassica family, and they take a lot less fertility than it takes to create a head of cauliflower head of this size. Takes tremendous amount of soil fertility and water to create this. And it is the premier new kale of the plant kingdom. There's a craze right now around cauliflower. I close my eyes and cringe because I know how much fertility and water it takes to have these white milky curds that are, or the large-headed broccolis that we so prize and love. So is this clear? I'm asking you to think in a way that's a little bit different when you think about the Brassica family. So is it clear what are members of the Brassica family? They're the heaviest feeding families, and you have to provide for what it's going to, we're going to talk about that right now. So peppers and eggplants, and peppers, eggplants, tomatoes, and potatoes, and also tobacco. These are heavy feeders. They're all in the same family. They're the Solanum family, poisonous to some, deadly nightshade. They're high in alkaloids. They're magnificent plants. They're slightly poisonous. The macrobiotic community disallows them in the diet. Too much of the nightshades changes your body, makes you a little weird. Hello. Winking at me, I'm winking at you. So what other heavy feeder? It's one of our beloved crops. They're large, they're hulking, they grow on vines.
Squash.
The squashes, the whole cucurbit family. The cucurbit family, squashes, melons, cucumbers. Any of those beautiful plants, we love them. They're primary, they're hugely supportive of human nutrition. And they take a lot from a field to create a squash that is the size of a great blue Hubbard. They look like a small animal on the field. Obviously, they take a lot of nutrition. What is another? There's one more that really takes a huge amount of nutrition. It's right here in the front. Corn.
Corn.
And corn, because each one of these seeds, each one of these kernels is a seed. And each one of these kernels contains life. This is an 8 to 12 row corn cob, and on a single plant there can be up to 10 cobs of corn. Each kernel draws nutrition, niacin, fertility, protein, carbohydrates from the soil to make those carbohydrates, niacin, and all those great beneficial food values available to you. The plant has to produce these cobs that are laden with seed and nutrition. So this is one sunflower head, but each one of these little seed capsules has a seed that's made from a fused ovary. So they're all gathered in the head of the sunflower. Very evolved and important family. They're light feeders. They don't take much nutrition unless you plant them densely. So don't make the mistake of thinking, oh, sunflowers are light on the ground. Not if you do a whole field of them and you really pump them up. So pay attention not only to the size, but also the density. So that any time you plant plants really densely, make sure you have the nutrition. Why are onions not a light feeder the way we're running them here? They do, but there's that, but what else?
They're close together.
Their density. It's the way you plant them. That's why the purplets are lighter feeders. You've got more room between them. When we lay out those onions and they fill out the whole bed, a plant that is normally a light feeder becomes a heavy feeder because of the way that we lay them out and do them. Same thing with garlic. For years at Green Gulch, we ran the garlic in thin rows to give lots of, and we banked in between with fertility. We also did that with leeks. They're all members of the great allium tribe. Where do I have them? They're here somewhere. Yeah, thank you. So the garlic. But then we got greedy. We did so well. We made so much money on the garlic. We intensified the density of planting, and the fertility went down and the crops keeled. We paid for it. You can intensify the density, but you have to provide the nutrition. So these are light feeders. The light feeders, they're light on the ground, and they also are beautiful in the ground. They're somewhat short-lived. They're aromatic, tremendously important in the body. They help to cleanse the body. And they also are, old world aphrodisiacs. In the Zen tradition, when we're having a long retreat, you don't eat garlic or onions. It's excluded from the food because it gives you big ideas and lots of oomph behind them. There can be food, says James Beard, without the onion, but there will be no cuisine. So they give you taste, flavor. We love them. Amaryllidaceae, the beautiful umbellifer family, carrots, and all of the fragrant herbs. Here we are, the umbellifers, dill, parsley, coriander, chervil, anise. All of the plants that they have a deep, penetrating root, like a carrot. They plunge their root down into the ground, they open up deep channels, then they send up a center stalk, and the flowers are all in panicles that look like an umbrella. They have extra floral nectaries. This is the plant that you would want to be putting in any field where you have other crops because it brings in the pollinating insects. So the onions and the umbellifers and this family, the aster family, they're all light feeders and they all provide for the pollinators. Primary pollinator providers, the umbellifer family and the Asteraceae, or the composite family. Composite, why does it have that name? I love the old name, it's a much better name. Aster, yes, it looks like a star. To me, it's a little bit of a dreamy, useless name. Composite, because this is a single flower. This is a single Russian sunflower that Jake Daigle grew. I love this. And I had it at our house, and the Myces came in before. This is before Caramel, BC, before Caramel, before Cat. Caramel is a cat, so before Cat, the little Myces came in, and they took a lot of Jake's seed out of this, and they got fatter and bigger and bolder. Then Caramel came. AC, no more eating of the seed. It's an ancient family. It doesn't behave in normal ways, and it has some of the most nutritious and generous and long-lasting plants that we can grow. Spinach is in this family. beets, chard, sugar beets, and quinoa. These are really important families. They're light on the soil. They don't take much out of the soil unless you plant them too densely. And they're preferred. Why does the gopher go to this family? Because it's one of the most nutritious families. They can eat the leaves, they can eat the roots, they can eat the shoots. So the chenopod family is a great family. And the beet, although it swells and grows underground, it is a member of this family. The greens are more nutritious than the beet. They're kind of on par. There's definitely, if you do a taste test, and we do this a lot at home because we really rely on this family. We eat it almost every night at home. So either we eat the beets. Our son came over yesterday with the head of the Tamalpais Mount Tam Fire Department. We're hungry. Where's the lettuce? I said the neighbors ate the lettuce. I said eat the beets. He said, well, I'm tired of beets. I said, oh, poor boy. Why are you so hungry? Eat the beets. The beet goes on. This is the family. So know the members: spinach, quinoa, sugar beet, field beet, and chard. Get to know them. Why are they called chenopod? Chino, goose, pod, poda, foot, goose foot. The leaf looks like a goose's foot. It's a great name, chenopod. The chenopod family is a wonderful family. Mendel, although quinoa behaves as a grain, it is a chenopod, and it's 18% protein, the seed. And the leaf is just as valuable. There couldn't be a better food. So I'd like to see us grow more of this, more quinoa, not just in the Native American plot, but throughout the farm. The leaves are delicious. This is the heaviest fruiting family of any of the fruit we take is the rose family. Strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, medlar, apples, pears, peaches, plums, they're all roses. They have the beautiful 5-petal sign, and also many of the fruit, they're the only fruit bold enough to have their seeds on the outside of the fruit. Advertising, come and eat my seed. Right now, the little tiny stipules, when we look at a strawberry, we can see these are the actual fruit, is that each little tiny packed and sweet. We have to look at a strawberry. I don't want to talk about it in absentia. So, huge family, and prolific beyond measure. They're all roses. And when you really look deeply in these fruit, you can see, oh, I'm eating roses. When you eat a good apple, you feel like you're eating a rose. You're in the rose family, in the heart of the rose family. So it's one of the most productive families on earth. Are they heavy feeders? What do you think? Caitlin, what do you think? You bet your life they are. I mean, strawberries, commercial strawberries, should barely not even be grown 1 year on soil. They take all of the nutrition from the soil to give you strawberries of that nature. And the way they're grown in this country is a crime. And fumigated soil, because they're so weak, because they're so pampered, because they are one of the most popular and laden and fruits that carry in each delicious little burst of flavor the sadness of environmental degradation and human suffering. Because in order to grow strawberries well, the fields have to be fumigated, fertilized, taken care of in ways that do not usually tend to be done organically. So Libitiae, and it's not demonstrated here, but when we go up to the farm we can look at it. Labia, lips. The flowers have lips. They actually, you can take a little Libitiae flower and make it talk. So now we're talking about rosemary, lavender, marjoram, oregano, thyme. All of those are Libitiae. They're pretty much across the board mints. They're pretty much all members of a single family, and they're pretty much all perennial herbs. And they grow by straying and setting down a root system and rooting accordingly. So they're wonderful, wonderful, wonderful perennial herbs. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. They're all Libitiae. No, not parsley. Parsley's an umbellifer. So then the annual herbs like parsley, cilantro, dill,